Hello, everyone. Welcome. Good morning, good evening, good afternoon. Thank you for joining us from all over the world today. We really appreciate you being here. If this is your first call, just want to let you know we normally open up with everyone going in the chat and saying where they are watching from. So we'd love to see those comments rolling in and letting us know where in the world you are at today. We have changed not any of the formatting necessarily, but we just changed the name a little bit. So if you're used to seeing these as Dagger community calls, same exact thing. We're just calling it Dagger Live now because we're trying to do even more live streams and various topics through this format. So we wanted to open it up to make sure we could cover all of those. So that's also a great reminder. If there is something specific that you want to see us be doing, either in live streams or tutorials, or walking through even some of our docs just in like a step-by-step basis, we always want to know that type of thing and are happy to do that for you. Or if like there's something that you're wanting to show your coworkers in terms of an example, we want to hear from you. So that way we can build out that material that's very useful to you. So please make sure to reach out to us either in this chat or on our Discord. We are all in all the time. And we are happy to put that on our content calendar. So
indeed, like if you had any doubt about whether this was a live broadcast, now the name fully reflects the reality, including maybe a couple of changes in the lineup that were last minute and could only be done live. Miranda, who do we have with us today?
Yeah, so we have Napuna. Napuna, do you want to say hi? One of our Dagger commanders.
Hi, yeah. Been using Dagger for a long time. I'm a Dagger commander. I originally joined this backstage, the streaming thing, because I couldn't access this stream from work from YouTube. But now I can, but I still join because I really like talking to these guys and see what they do, and they invited me today just to. I'm here as a spectator. I don't have a demo or anything, but yeah, I'm always around in the Discord.
Yeah, and we love your comments, and it's another great reason for whoever is here who isn't on the Discord. Actually, I'll add it as a comment right now for anyone watching. Oh, wrong link. I'll put it on in a second. But where the Discord is a place where people like Napuna, Dagger commanders, ourselves, and then also a lot of people from the community are coming in and talking about their use cases and helping each other out. And everyone has various, reasons for using Dagger. As we all know, there's many reasons you could use Dagger for basically any workflow. So it's great when you get in there because you'll find people who have similar use cases to you using Dagger for that, and then you can go in and talk to them, and we're there to support as well. So maybe I think we should get started. We have two demos today. It's team demos, so all of you are probably familiar with a lot of us in Discord or already familiar faces. I think Kyle and Jeremy's faces are pretty famous from YouTube. So maybe we can do some quick intros and then get started with the demo. So Matthias, you want to go first?
Yeah, sure. My name is Matthias. I'm Matipan in Discord. You're probably seeing me more active on the infrastructure, the Kubernetes, or those types of channels. I would say that in Dagger, I do all things infra, but the reality is that we are all over the place. We're a small team, so we usually put like whatever hat you have to put. So yeah, lately we've been doing a lot of product development, and we have some cool demos to show today.
And Marcos, I think you're his partner in crime for this, right?
Yeah, exactly. My name is Marcos. I'm from Argentina as well as Matias. And I'm pretty much doing the same thing as Mati, working on product mostly, Dagger Cloud, a little bit of the engine every now and then. And probably you saw me in the help channel in Discord. I'm usually the one providing hacks and stopgaps for people to actually be able to like do weird things with Dagger, which is great. And yeah, happy to chat if you have any questions or concerns about Dagger.
Awesome. And Kyle.
Yo, yeah, I'm Kyle from the Dagger YouTube. So you recognize me from there. You probably see me do some demos, and you'll see some cool ones today as well.
Awesome. Very cool. Yeah, I'm excited to see yours because I know if folks are watching and tuning in that came from our SF Hack Night, you'll actually find Kyle's demo a little similar to what he did there. But we wanted to showcase it here as well because we've been getting a lot of questions of just how does this, how does Dagger work with agents, or what is like a use case that's really helpful for me in my day-to-day job? And so very excited to see what you can share with us today, Kyle. And maybe we can get started. Should I share your screen?
Yeah, go for it.
Okay, let's add to stage. Perfect. I'll make
exciting. And I'm hoping for like, I don't know, hot takes, commentary from Nipuna. I mean, you have the opportunity. You have the stage. Definitely use it.
Awesome. Yeah, feel free to roast me as we're going. So, yeah, we'll talk about some agents working around my code base. So this is my Greetings API demo repo. So if you're like seeing all this agent stuff that we're talking about here at Dagger and like all over the internet, if you're looking for like ideas of how you can actually build these things to make your life easier as like a DevOps or platform oriented person, hopefully I'll be able to spark some ideas here with what I've built in this repo. So this repo is like a simple Go API that also has a really fancy front end, and we'll actually run it so you can see it later on. But the main thing is like it's a Go project, and I want to build a bunch of agents to kind of handle all the nasty stuff for me, so I can just write code or even just think of new features and then have the product kind of build itself. So the first agent of my whole fleet of agents here is when I create an issue on GitHub, I want to describe what a new feature of the product should be. And then I just want to add like a little slash command. So I've built all these different slash commands that we're going to walk through. And this one is /develop. So when I type /develop, I have this automation that I've built that we're going to look at that actually will pick up this issue and give it to an agent to actually develop the issue. And then as we can see here, open a pull request. So the agent Cal, which is the digital version of myself, will open this pull request, developing this feature for me. And so I've asked it to create a new endpoint in the API to add new greetings. So before this pull request, the API just serves a bunch of greetings in different languages. So now we want a new endpoint to actually be able to add new greetings to the API. So the agent picks that up, goes and develops the feature and opens this pull request, and we can look at what it's created here, which is a new endpoint, and it's exactly what we asked for. It receives it's a post endpoint that receives a payload that will add a new greeting to our greetings slice that's stored in memory. And so before we go into like the next agent in this flow, let's look at how this works real quick. So like I said, we had this slash command, and so we have a bunch of GitHub actions workflows here. And I'll just make this window a bit bigger and maybe try and make it fit on the screen. Okay, so we have a bunch of slash commands. So if I guide you through this YAML, we have one called /agent that we haven't seen yet, one called /review that we haven't seen yet, and this one called /develop that we just looked at in action. And so when I type /develop, and you can see that I'm not using any like fancy actions from the GitHub Actions Marketplace. I'm actually just when we have a new issue comment created, we go through and check if the issue is a pull request or not, because GitHub issues and pull requests are both types of issues, basically. So in this case, for this /develop, we say if it's not a pull request and the comment contains /develop, then we're going to do this thing. And so we've built in slash commands to our repo just by coding this logic using like the core components of GitHub Actions. And so when we call /develop, we want to run this develop pull request function from our Daggerized project. And so let's look at that. We have develop pull request, And you might have seen this one featured in YouTube before. I'll just go through real quick like what this does. So it uses this GitHub issue module from the Daggerverse to read the information from the GitHub issue itself. So it reads the issue body, and that's the assignment for the agent. And then it will take that assignment and pass it to this develop function, which is the main agent here, right? So this is up here, develop, takes an assignment, and optionally a model. It defaults to Gemini 2.0 Flash, and I can probably update that to 2.5 now. And it has a prompt file and a workspace, which is just a submodule that we can look at as well, and passes all these things into an environment and gives that environment to an LLM with our prompt. And it even logs our total token usage so we can keep track of that, and then gives back the completed assignment. And so just digging a little bit deeper, our workspace submodule is just a Dagger module with functions to read, write, reset, tree, check, diff, all these things just basically in a file system workspace to give really precise tools to edit files in our code base, basically. And so with this, an LLM can easily modify files without giving it too much access to just kind of run around and break things across our code base. But most importantly, it has the ability to check its work. So by checking its work, as the agent is making changes to the code, it can actually run the tests to make sure that those changes are valid. And it's not just generating a bunch of random code. It's actually checking those to make sure that they pass all of our checks, right? One other cool thing to highlight here is that when we write, we also call the formatter for my project. And so that when it writes, it'll do like go format and lint -- fix. That way, as it's writing, we apply all the automatic formatting that we would have in our IDE for a developer. And that way it doesn't have this like loop back and forth where it's just generating code and guessing what we want the code to look like, and then running the check and getting this failure saying, your indentation's wrong or something. So by applying this automatic formatting, we can actually save all these tokens by just helping out the agent a little bit when it's writing files. So anyway, back to this this workspace. So we have that workspace, and the other thing we passed in was a prompt. And so we can look at our set of prompts here, and this was called assignment. And so we have this little structured prompt that says, you're a programmer on the Greetings API. Here's how you should think through problems. Here's the assignment, and we use this $ assignment, which we passed in through that environment. And then here's some constraints. So basically, as we're developing the agent and it goes off the rails and does something wrong, then we can look at that and understand why it did something wrong, and then adjust our prompt accordingly to make sure that in the future it'll be more reliable. Okay, so that's the develop function. And so we've called that from our develop pull request function. And so that gives us back basically the completed assignment, right? So we've completed whatever task that was passed in. And now with that, we're once again going to use this GitHub issue module from Daggerverse to open a pull request. So we ask another LLM real quick for like, what's a good title for this pull request based on the assignment we gave. So that's a fun little way of like just sprinkling in some more LLM things. And then once we have that title, we use that GitHub issue module to create a pull request, and we get back the pull request URL. And so in this flow in GitHub, now we've triggered it with that / command. We've had our agent actually go through and develop the thing, and then it's open a pull request. By the way, if you haven't seen our docs lately, there's a new quick start guide called Add an AI Agent to an Existing Project. And it actually walks you through building literally what I just showed you with the Hello Dagger project. So if you're like, wow, this is really cool, I don't fully understand what Kyle just ran through, I wonder if I could build that myself, then this is where you want to go, where you can actually build it yourself in whatever language you want to work in. So that's fun. So go do that after this. But for now, keep watching me. And so we've opened a pull request with this solution. Now, if you're looking at the solution here, we had this post endpoint to add greetings. But myself, as the person that requested this feature, I'm looking at this and saying, cool, that's great. But it looks like it's this like unauthenticated endpoint where anyone could just add greetings to my project. So what I want to do is, oh, by the way, we also have this helpful thing so that we can easily test our Daggerized project. So actually, while that's running, let's say we want to look at this. I'll just run this over here. And so we say, normally when I'm developing my project, I just call serve up, which runs the front end to back end. So I can run the whole application locally. And so by saying -m github.com, now it's pointing to the Dagger module on GitHub and pointing at this specific pull request. So I can test my pull request right here just by copying that command. And that is something that you could actually copy paste into your literal project without modifying that. So this is that the thing that posted that to my pull request was just this little action that adds a comment that says test this, and we already know what my repo is. We just add the PR number and it comments it. So that's pretty neat. Anyway, so we've looked at that. We actually want to add some authentication. So now I can say /agent. So we got this other / command that we saw earlier. The endpoint should be authenticated so that only someone with admin API key can access it. And I kind of help it out a bit here by saying the API key can be configured in an environment variable where the API is run, because we don't have that concept in the project yet. So we go back here and say, okay, what happens when I do /agent? So /agent calls pull request feedback. Makes sense. And this is maybe in this file. Okay, pull request feedback. So we've got another Dagger function, and it's really like a really similar shape to that develop pull request that we just looked at, except we're now getting feedback. So we kind of, instead of just passing in our project and an assignment, we need a bit more context, because we need to know, okay, what's the feedback? What was the original assignment we were trying to solve? What work's been done so far? So this function does all of that, right? It goes through and says, okay, here's the GitHub issue. And this is the description was like our original assignment for the pull request. We get the head ref, which is like the current state of my pull request. We get the diff by using the diff URL off of that GitHub API. And so this gives us the code diff of the work that's been done so far in that pull request, just like we would look at in the pull request code tab. And then we pass that into an agent once again with all this information that it needs to solve the problem. And this looks really similar, right? So it gets a different prompt this time, which we can look at, but then it creates that same kind of workspace. It passes in a bit more information like the original assignment, the feedback, and the code diff, and then gives us back the completed work. So it's going to be a new commit that it wants to push. And so once we get that completed work, it's going to call another function on that GitHub issue module that says create pull request commit, and it's going to say, here's the head ref, here's my new directory of work. We can actually just look at the help there. So here's the repo, the source directory, and the branch we're pushing that source to. And the prompt this time, very similar problem-solving process, except it says like consider the original intent of the pull requests and the feedback given, and the code diff, and understand what the feedback's asking for. And then we give all this information and very similar constraints. And so once that's done, let's go back here. Okay, so we did that / command, and then we can see it pushed up a new commit. And that new commit is like, okay, now we have this new auth middleware function that checks for, let's see, a bearer token to match something in the environment somewhere. Oh yeah, so when we call this, we have the os.getenv admin API key. So it added an auth middleware to our endpoint. So that's exactly what we asked for. That's perfect. So now I'm looking at that. I'm like, cool, let's like it looks good to me. Let's see what our review agent looks like. So now we have another / command review, and this will go through and basically we'll give it the workspace again to explore the code, and we'll give it a special prompt that says you're reviewing a pull request. Once again, like consider the assignment and how it solves that. Here's what a good pull request looks like. It should accomplish the task. It shouldn't have unrelated changes. It shouldn't be obviously malicious. So this is something like in my project, I can iterate on this criteria to refine like what this review should actually look at. And this is something like even as humans reviewing code, we probably all have slightly different internal prompts of what we're looking at when reviewing code. So this is a good thing, maybe just as a practice in your team to like define what a pull request review looks like. Anyway, so the agent does that. It adds this review that says, cool, like it adds that new endpoint, looks good. We could add tests for that new endpoint. That would probably be good. Add some logging. The middleware could be more generic. And then it says, I think the pull request is acceptable if we add some tests. And I'm like, yeah, makes sense. All right, so now we do the / command again, please add a test. And it's going to go and add a test for that endpoint. And it's going to set an environment variable and then run the API and then try and call that. Cool, makes sense. Oh, and then I guess it actually deleted some other tests. So I asked it to add them back. So now we can look at this. And through, I think, was that like 4 different agents, we've kind of worked together to create this feature. And if we go over here, we can see this is running locally now. So I can actually go to host 8080. And this is my endpoint. There's hello world. If I go to 8081, that's our front end. And we can wave and see this greetings API running based on the content that pull request. And so one last thing real quick. So that's 4 agents, but we actually have a 5th one because we have also humans developing code for this as well. And so even though our agent always tests its code before it makes a pull request, humans don't always do that. So we have another one, and this one you might have seen feature on YouTube as well. But if we have a pull request that I opened as a human, you see it's me, it's not Calbot. And I pushed up this thing, and we can see by the little red X that our test failed. It's actually going to open the test fix for me. And then I can look at that fix and say, oh yeah, that makes sense. And I can hit the commit, which I've already done here. And then now the tests are green. And we can also look at this over in cloud and see how it did that. So we saw that the test failed and it was like a lint failure. And we can see somewhere in here, oh yeah, the failure maybe. But then the agent picks it up and we have that the prompt that the agent received. It says, okay, I got to fix the failing tests. And then it looks at all the tools we gave it. Let me bump this up a few more notches here. And then it looks around the project, figures out why the tests are failing, and then says, okay, the tests are failing in this main test.go. And we can see it ran the test just so it could get that failure. And I think maybe I'm looking at the wrong spot. Anyway, but you can see it got the failure because it says, okay, it looks like this test select greeting is getting this, but it's expecting this. And so it writes this change to our main.go, or main test.go, which is this thing. It runs the test again. It says, cool, looks good. Gonna save that. And when it saves that, it actually writes a PR suggestion, which is what we have here, which is something that I, as the developer of this PR, could just click accept. It could also just push the commit if we really trusted it to just push things. But I really prefer to just see these suggestions so that maybe it fixed them, but it fixed it in the wrong place, right? Because here we can see, okay, the fix was actually to change the test assertion, but maybe the real fix was to change my function, right? So we can go back and, oh, no changes. Oh, right, because it's just undoing what I did, basically. We can see what I did here was to change this foo to foo, and that's what it was undoing essentially when we look at that. So yeah, that's my 5 agents on this project, and they're all available to go look at in this greetings API. Yeah, any questions?
There's a question that came in, and then I have a question too. Showing the diff to the model is interesting. They're wondering, did you land on that after trying other things, like having the agent start from pool /123/head? Because theoretically, it could run git log.
Yeah, so the main thing, it could run git log. The main thing is the diff is like kind of the one-stop shop to see everything that's done so far. Where git log, it has to understand what's been done in this branch, what's where the history starts basically. So the diff is just kind of one thing and one thing to look at to understand the whole context, where if you were doing that through Git, you'd eventually arrive through calling different tools at the exact same thing to convey the exact same information.
Probably depends, right? Like in the case where like everything was working and it just broke in the last commit, well, having that diff right there, super useful, versus if you need to understand the whole arc of the project over maybe many commits, could be a different assignment, right?
Potentially. I mean, usually like if you're giving this feedback on a pull request, you're specifically talking about the scope in these changes or maybe some additional changes that need to be made.
Yeah.
But the main thing is like, I don't want to, in my feedback, I don't want to go through a ton of steps to explain like specifically what context I'm talking about changes. I want to be really vague because that's kind of how we usually give feedback to humans as well, right? We know that they know the context of what's been done so far. And I'm saying the endpoint, right? I'm not saying this specific, I'm not saying the new post greetings endpoint. I'm just saying the endpoint. And so giving the diff allows us to be vague and talk like humans to the robot.
Got it. Yeah, I definitely, Puna, I don't know if you had any notes, but
No, this is yeah, this looks awesome. I had a question about the cache. Is it between comments? Is it saving the cache? Are you using like some kind of a cache here, or is it just doing everything from scratch for every
No, so
comment?
this is all from scratch, and that's why part of it is like loading that context, because you're actually really starting a new agent from the first one that pushed the pull request. So that's why we have to give it, you're a new agent. This is what the other agent tried to do, and here's what it did so far, versus like iterating on a continuously running thing that you might have in like a local loop working with an agent.
Right. Nice.
Very cool. Yeah, a couple other things that, I mean, I totally clued in on what you were saying, Kyle, about how these the prompts, really could embody the standards, the practices of your team, the important maybe compliance points even that you might have. So I thought that was really a great point. How you could really tweak those to reflect your team's exact needs there.
Yeah, exactly. One thing I actually really want to incorporate into this demo is, a lot of projects have like a coding style or contributing guide markdown as part of the project. So I want to pull that into the agent so it understands, how to work with this project using information that it was written for people.
Very cool. Yeah, and I think one other cool trick that I saw that maybe not everyone has noticed is what's over in your GitHub Actions YAML for the / commands. One, that you had these cool / commands, which was awesome. But two, also just like at the top of the file, how you have those very simple, using the actions checkout to just make sure that, all this code that you wanted to use was here on the runner, but also that single line of install Dagger for GitHub, just to make sure you had Dagger present. But maybe folks have used that to run Dagger previously, but didn't realize you could just make sure Dagger was installed properly.
Yeah, like a lot of people have probably used this action like this, and they might say like call foo, right, or something like that, or pass in everything here and use this as all in one. But if you don't pass anything to this action, it just acts like a setup action where it just installs Dagger for you. So now in all of my other successive commands, I just say Dagger call whatever. And this is cool because this is the exact same thing that I can copy and paste and run locally, right?
Absolutely. Very, very cool.
And one question I think for the whole group that I'd love to kind of talk about, and especially for people who may be watching who haven't built an agent with Dagger yet, we're seeing so much around, hey, we have all these agents that do XYZ but obviously as people who are building agents with Dagger all the time, like what are you seeing that makes it so much easier to build, not only build agents, but also like use these agents compared to what you're seeing out there today? Because I know, for example, like the reusability, the using it locally, things like that are things that come up regularly. So I wasn't sure if there's anything else that we want to call out for people who may be seeing all the news of additional agents out there too.
Yeah, I mean, I think one thing for sure is, like you said, that is portable. So like, especially the way that I've built these functions is that, this, if we go back to that develop one, for example, that we really walked through, this develop agent, I can run from anywhere. I can run it from my command line because all I have to pass in is an assignment. And then I'm creating like the GitHub side of it in a separate function that just wraps it. So I'm not baking all this stuff into one big function. I'm separating it so that I can run this anywhere I want. And the other thing is this is very highly specialized to my project. So if you're trying to use, the new Copilot features in GitHub, where you can ask it to solve a feature, that might get really far in certain scenarios, but it doesn't have the project specific things. Like it's not able to run my Dagger checks when it's writing things. It's not able to call my formatters when it's writing things. And these are things that I've been able to bake into my agent by kind of creating a specialized agent for my project.
Yeah, I love the fact that, kind of like the humble snail carrying their home on their back. Dagger's like ready to run with its environment, like anywhere. So on your laptop or NCI, it runs the same in this consistent containerized way. So yeah, super cool.
I think that might be a perfect transition actually to what we're going to talk about next in terms of the product side, unless Jeremy, you have any other comments, because I think, you're showing these type of things and you're saying like, hey, this is, functions, modules, agents that I've built for my specific project. I think now transitioning to what Marcos and Matthias are going to be talking about may be helpful there. So
let's check it out.
Let's see. So let me remove this and add Matthias's to the stage real quick. Go for it, Marcos. You want to give an intro? And
Yep, thanks, Miranda. So I'm going to give a quick intro, and then Matthias is going to show you all the amazing things that we have been working on for the past months. So yeah, I guess this can be pretty much summarized in Nipuna's shirt. I don't know if you saw it, which says like basically happy developers write better code, right? And what makes happy developers in one part is Dagger, right? Because it, all the benefits and the cool things that you can do with it. But on the other hand, when you are either a Dagger node or a platform engineer or maybe a developer tooling developer, when you start adopting Dagger, you realize that the management of the life cycles of your modules, start to become a challenge, right? Because you need to first of all, you need to make them available within your organization. Then you need to know who is using which module. You need to know if the module fails, right? The function of the module fails. You need to basically connect the traces. So what we have been working on, given user input as well as community input for the past months, is a new way where you can manage the life cycles of your Dagger modules. The idea behind this is to make both module creators and consumers more productive, and at the same time, develop a new collaboration model around the Dagger system, which is basically this composable set of building blocks that you can actually use to build your pipelines or maybe your agentic workflows or any challenge that you need to accomplish. Within those key features, we prioritize the Git integration initially. Matthias is going to explain a little bit about this in a minute. Then module discovery, the ability to actually explore and navigate the documents of the modules, We also allow contextual tracing as well as insights, which is also a part of an important part of navigating modules and understanding how they are operating and performing. So with that all said, and with my Steve Jobs sweater, I'm going to leave Matthias to guide you through all the amazing things that we have been shipping in the past weeks. Mati,
Nice.
all yours.
Yeah. So in Marco's intro, he was talking about module developers and platform engineers. One of the first things that we actually being both have faced is that you develop the modules that power your software factory, and those modules, they end up being all over the place. You may have like a bunch of different repos, or you may have dozens of modules in just a single repository, and it starts to become a little bit difficult to actually keep track of them. So the first thing that we aimed at fixing is the fact that having a module catalog should be something that's simple and that's right in your face, and it should be as automatic as possible. So when you want to get started with this feature, the first thing that you do is you configure a Git source, which for now we only support GitHub, but more are coming. And you're basically going to enable which organization or account you want to connect. What we are going to do when you do that is we're going to automatically scan that organization or that list of organizations, and we're going to try to find all the Dagger modules that you have already developed. Once we find them, we're going to show them here in this cool modules tab that you can see. And you're going to be able to see every single module they have with some metadata, whether they're private or public. And as new modules are pushed to like these existing repositories, we're going to automatically find them and show them here. The first problem that we faced when we started doing this integration is that, we have, like, I can scroll down. We have so many modules that we work on at Dagger, and you need a way to catalog them, a way to group them and give a little bit of meaning to that particular group. In our case, for example, we have this particular tab, which we're calling a view, that's called toolchain. This view is configurable. You can create views and select which modules you want to show in that particular view. In our case, toolchain is the module that we use to actually build applications. For example, here you can see that we have Alpine, Wolfie, Golang CI, Go, and Node. So if you're getting started in your team and you want to build Go application, you might already use a module that's on Daggerverse, or you might build your own that adds a little bit of the best practices that you want to enforce. You're going to see that module here, and so will your other team members. So they're going to be able to quickly find it and use it for their application. Now, what happens when you go into one of these modules is that the first thing you're going to be able to see is the actual documentation of the module. You can see here that we have an all versions tab, meaning that you don't have a version selected, but we decided to show you the default version for a module, which has the same logic that we have for Daggerverse. Here we're showing you the V0188 module, and you can see the API for that in the same way that you would in Daggerverse. In this case, I don't have examples that I can show you, but you're going to be able to look at that as well. So a developer can come in, see that you have a build function, see maybe an example that you wrote, and see how they can use it. Now, you as a developer of the Go module, you probably want to gain a little bit of insight into who's using the module. Like, okay, I created this toolchain module that is going to help ship Go applications, but I need to know who has it. I need to also have tooling to understand upgrade path. Am I breaking anybody? What's happening? Like, who's using within my organization specifically, who's using the module? For that, you can go into this view that's called the Dependents tab, the Dependents view, sorry. And I can see who actually installed my module, and I can see their specific modules and jump directly to them. Here, for example, we have the main Dagger module. This is a module that builds Dagger. And since Dagger is a Go application, we use the Go module that we've developed. I can jump into this particular one and see all the different versions that are using this particular version. I can even see the pin that they have selected if they have one. For any of these, I can actually jump into one. For example, here we have a commit. I can jump to that one. And you're going to see that I'm going to go to the actual Dagger dev module. And this time, I am in the dependency stuff. Here, I'm going to be able to find myself. Remember, we were in the Go module, and we can see that it's a dependency of this particular package. Once I am in this contextual module, this is a module of a developer. Somebody might have told you, like, hey, my builds are failing. So you can jump into that one and see the traces for that particular commit in this case. and we can see what's happening. Here we can see that we have some local function calls that are happening for this particular commit. So somebody is actually working on this module in this specific pin version. If I don't really care and I simply want to browse around, I can remove the version selected by default and have all the list of latest versions that happened in this module. And I can simply look at the traces that they have. If I only care about main, I can select main and jump into main. You can see that the version selector now has that selected and do the same thing. Here, for example, we have one that has a trace at error. I can jump into that trace and I can see exactly what's happening. So let me go back. There we go. Again, you can see the API. That's something that we already checked. And the last thing that I wanted to mention is you can see the activity of the module. This is something that for now will simply show what versions happened in the context of the module. But we have a ton of ideas that are going to give you like real insights into your module. So stay tuned for improvements here. If you want to get started, you should already have the modules tab at the top. If you don't, please ping us. We have a free trial for individual accounts. And if you're on the team plan, you already have this feature and you can, assuming you're using GitHub, you can already enjoy it. That's it. That was the demo.
Nice. And we have a few, I know there's quite a few users who are actively using this, which is really exciting. And if you're one of those watching and you haven't already connected with us, which I think we're trying to connect with everyone, is give us feedback and let us know how it's going, because it's this team's moving super quick on all of this, and I think doing new features for every day. So please let us know either on Discord or feel free to just reach out to us an email, and we can get you connected to the right people. So. I think Napuna, you had some. You were mentioning some feedback about adding some allow adding single and multiple repos to be scanned.
Yeah. Oh yeah. So the question. So something that you could do already is configure the application. It's perfectly valid feedback. It's something that we have actually been looking into. A stopgap that we have right now is. You can configure the GitHub app that we have and only select the repositories that you care about. That way, we are only going to have access to those particular repositories. That means that we're not going to be able to create trace checks with trace links for those repos. But it's a stopgap that lets you not scan the whole thing.
Yeah, I was thinking more like from an enterprise standpoint, but sometimes we are very wary of something scanning the entire organization. And some orgs have like monolithic, like thousands of repositories in them. So it would be nice if repositories can be onboarded per use basis. So if you are consuming a Daggerverse from somewhere, then that will obviously be onboarded, and then you can onboard your repo. Then you get traces when you onboard it, something like that.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, makes sense.
That's helpful feedback. Yeah. Very cool. I see any other, let's take a look, see if there's any other questions.
Yeah, I think we're
doing pretty well.
Yeah, we're doing good, and I'm excited for people to try this. Like Matthias said, if you're on the individual plan, you can try that today. You'll just see the tab on the side, and then you can activate it for 14 days. And then if you're on the team plan already, you will already see this. So like I said, if you're already using it or you haven't done the onboarding for it yet, please do. And we want to get your feedback. So we have teams actively working on this, and we'll make sure it's as useful as everyone as possible. And we've had a lot of feedback from users already that this has been really helpful for their orgs. So excited to see it out there. So if anyone has any other questions on this specific thing or on Kyle's demo, I added all of the links into our general channel on Discord. So if you aren't already there, please join so we can follow up discussions there. And then we also are available on the GitHub as well. So happy to answer any issues that you're hitting in GitHub as well. So.
Yeah, and you shouldn't be shy if you want to give some feedback directly to Marcos or Matthias or
Yeah.
ask questions of Kyle about how he did his agents demo, just jump in the Discord. We're all there, so I'm sure they would love it.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. And we will have these set up as demo snippets on our YouTube. So since you're already there, if you want to hit subscribe, that would be awesome, because then you'll get an alert when we add these. And that way you can share these specific snippets with your friends, coworkers, everyone to show off these specific parts. So you have to show the whole segment. So looking forward to seeing you all in Discord, and I hope everyone has an amazing week. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thanks all.
Take care.